Shalom, and welcome to Jewish Traditions Across the Centuries. I'm Rabbi Cantor Anne Heath from Congregation Agudath Achim in Taunton, Massachusetts. Welcome to this next segment of our programming. You see before me the menorah, and it's actually not a menorah, it's a Hanukkah with one errant candle for the fourth night that doesn't seem to want to stand up straight. And as you'll see in just a moment, as our camera woman zooms, you'll see behind me the difference between a menorah, which represents the candelabra, that candelabrum that was in the temple in Jerusalem when it stood. But what I have before me now, as we zoom back in, is a Hanukkah. It's the candelabrum that we use for the festival of Hanukkah. My Hanukkah, what's Hanukkah? Hanukkah comes from the Hebrew word chinuch, which means dedication. And Hanukkah is the festival of rededication because the temple in Jerusalem had been defiled by the Syrian Greeks. And no, it's the same countries as we're dealing with now, but completely different political empires over 2,000 years ago. In 167 before the Common Era, BC, Syrian Greeks were in charge of a part of Palestine, the land of Judea, and they had taken over the temple. And King Antiochus IV, Epiphanes, had said Jews weren't allowed to worship their faith. And certainly over a period of time, the Maccabees chose to rebel against this ruling, and they managed through a series of rebellions to take control of Jerusalem, to rededicate the temple. And in honor of the festival of Sukkot, which happens in the fall, the Feast of Tabernacles, or of Booths, they celebrated a delayed festival for 8 days. And during that time, they cleansed the temple, looked for a cruse of pure oil. There was plenty of oil in the temple, but only one cruse for 1 day of pure oil was available. And by a miracle, we don't know how, we consider divine intervention truly possible, that miracle of oil lasted for 8 days during this festival. Hence, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lights of the Hanukkah. The candle in the middle is the shamash, or the helper. So even though this holiday falls in December, and it is perilously close to Christmas, it is not on the same order. It is not a liturgical holiday, one that arises from the Bible, from the Torah, but it is a political holiday, a historical holiday, one that arises from the history of the Jewish people. And across the centuries, as Jews have lived closer and closer and have been more in touch with their Christian neighbors, Jews have done what a lot of other people do, and they've tried to create some balance between their festival, their holiday, and what all of their neighbors around them have. So let's take a look at a family, a boy who's beginning to celebrate one of his early Hanukkahs, and he has looking for his dreidel. Let's find out what a dreidel is. Here's his question: where's my dreidel? Where's My Dreidel is a Hanukkah Lift the Flap story by Betty Schwartz and illustrated by Varda Livni. Max and his family are busy preparing for the first night of Hanukkah. "Mom," said Max, "have you seen my dreidel?" "No, dear," said Mom. "Now, where did I put our beautiful silver?" And since this is a Lift the Flap book, you can see as we lift the flap what's inside. She did, however, find on the top shelf the Hanukkah. "Grandpa, have you seen my dreidel?" asked Max. "Sorry, Max, I haven't," said Grandpa. "Would you like to try one of my tasty?" And what's Grandpa going to be doing? He's going to be busy cooking. Potato. What kind of potato? It doesn't say, but I'll tell you. When we lift the flap, it says latkes, potato pancakes. made from scratch. And if you're not sure what potato pancakes are, think hash browns. Well, of course, Max needs to ask everyone where his dreidel is, and he goes and asks his father. "Dad, have you seen my dreidel?" asked Max. "No, son. Have you seen my prayer book?" And there it is on the bookshelf. But no dreidel. "Julie, have you seen my dreidel?" asked Max. "No," answered his sister. "Will you help us find the hidden golden coins, the gelt, the traditional gifts for Hanukkah?" And so Julie has found those. But Max, he hasn't found his dreidel yet. "Where is my dreidel?" Max asked himself. Could it be that it is under the table? Max wondered. And what did he find under the table? He found a baby with a rattle, but not with his dreidel. "Are you looking for something?" asked Grandma. "Because I have something special just for you." And the holiday table is set, and we lift the flap, and it's a present. Max has a present for the first night of Hanukkah. "Thank you, Grandma," said Max. He reached into the box and he pulled out his very own dreidel. And so Max said, "I love my present, but Grandma, will you play spin the dreidel with me?" "I would love to later," said Grandma, "but now it's time for us to light the Hanukkah menorah, the Chanukiah." And so Max hasn't yet had a chance to play dreidel. Now, if you didn't know the rules for playing dreidel, you might wonder how to do it. And a good way to learn the rules would be in this fabulous book, the Everything Kids Hanukkah book. It's got puzzles and activities, and you can see as I just flip carefully through it, there are all kinds of things to keep kids busy for 8 nights of Hanukkah, ways to learn, many things that you can do to learn more about Hanukkah. But it still we haven't found the page that teaches how to play dreidel. So maybe let's look in this great book, The Festival of Lights, The Story of Hanukkah. And it contains a wonderful retelling of the traditional story of Hanukkah from the books of the Maccabees. And in the end of the book, there's a special section that has the dreidel game. It will teach you how to make a dreidel of your own. You'll see that it can be made using a pencil and some simple paper cutouts. Each side of a dreidel, and there are 4 sides, has a Hebrew letter. The first letter, and it'll explain here, is the letter Nun, an N sound. The second letter is a Gimel. It makes the G sound. The third letter is a Hey. It makes the H, the H sound. And the last letter is a Shin. It makes the Sh sound. And this is for the Hebrew phrase Nes Gadol Haya Sham. Nes, a miracle. Gadol, great. Haya, was. Sham, there in the land of Israel. And the Nun, the Gimel, the Hey, and the Shin, when you spin it around and it lands on one of those letters, you all started with some Hanukkah gelt. It might be beautiful pieces of chocolate wrapped in gold paper. And if you get a Nun, you don't get to take anything from the pot. But if you get a Gimel, you get to take everything in the pot, kind of like a special, easy way for playing poker. If you get a Hey, you get half of the pot. And if you get a Shin, you have to take one from your pile and put it in. So you can see as you go around the table, once you've kind of seeded the pot with some Hanukkah gelt to begin with, sometimes you get it all, sometimes you have to get it back, and you'll play until one person gets it all. It's a great way to play a wonderful game with your friends. And that's really about all that Hanukkah has for its celebrations. Lighting the Chanukiah. Before we light it, we always give tzedakah. is our obligatory giving, and this is for a particular Jewish organization called Mazon, a Jewish response to hunger. There are many other worthy causes that your tzedakah, your coins, your cash, your spare change, that you can contribute to support people who are in need, because we consider that why should we be celebrating if there are others who are hungry, if there are other Jews who don't have the wherewithal to have lights. Let's talk about the lights. What are we to do with these lights? You heard me mention that there was a miracle, that there was enough pure oil to last 8 days in the temple. And so we light one candle each night at sundown. People's traditions vary a little, exactly if it's a smidgen before or a smidgen after. But whenever the candles are lit, unless you feel that you're living in a place of danger, and sometimes Jews do live in places where there's anti-Semitism, but other than that, the Hanukkah should be placed in a window. The candles or the cruises of oil should burn for at least 30 minutes, and we are not allowed to use these beautiful lights for anything else other than their enjoyment. And by putting them in the window, we publicize the miracle. So on this, the 4th night of Hanukkah, I would light the main candle, the shamash, and having placed the candles in the Hanukkah, I would then recite a blessing. So I would light the newest candle first, then the 3rd night, then the 2nd night, then the 1st, and then I would replace the shamash back in its holder and recite this first blessing. I'll do the Hebrew, and then afterwards I'll tell you what it means in English. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. And then we continue. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim la'avoteinu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Blessed art thou, our God, ruler of the universe, who has wrought miracles for our ancestors and all the way to these days of our season. If it were the 1st night, we would then include the all-purpose Jewish blessing for being thrilled to be still alive to come to this new day. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. And here's a very short version of the Hanukkah story. Hanukkah is a celebration of peace and freedom. It was first celebrated on the 25th of the Hebrew month of Kislev. Long ago, in a place far off, a Syrian king named Antiochus ruled over Israel. He said, I am the law. I make all the rules, how you eat, how you work and play. I shall tear down the temple of the Jews. They shall worship what I say. But one brave man named Mattityahu said, this shall never be. I will not bow down. If you're for Adonai, if you're for our God, join my sons and follow me. And they called themselves the Maccabees. Oh, we are the mighty Maccabees. Freedom is our battle cry. All courage and strength, all victories are gifts from God on high. For we are the army of our Lord, and we battle in God's name. And when our temple is restored, we'll rekindle the holy flame. Mattityahu's son, Judah Maccabee, led the small army of Jews to victory, and they returned to Jerusalem to rededicate their temple. They restored and built up the altar stones and cleaned up their holy place. Although there was just oil for one night, still the flame burned 8 long days. And that miracle which happened there is the thing which we celebrate. And this festival of lights we share is our Hanukkah holiday. Hanerot halalu anu madlikin, Hanerot halalu anu madlikin, al hanisim va'al haniflaot va'al hatshuot va'al hamilchamot she'asita la'avotenu, she'asita la'avotenu bayamim hahem, bayamim hahem, bayamim hahem, bazman haseh. And then we move into a very classic song that is 300, 400, 500, 600 years old. The text goes back to the Middle Ages. It's known as Ma'os Tzur, Rock of Ages. And in English it goes, Rock of Ages, let our song praise thy saving power. And it continues in a very hymn-like fashion. But then we move into more fröhlich, more festival. O Hanukkah, come light the menorah. Let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora. And this song continues on. Some people know it in Hebrew, some in Yiddish, and some in English. What's very popular for contests for dreidel is, I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Oh dreidel, 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 I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, oh dreidel I shall play. Now from all of this, I hope you can see that Hanukkah is celebrated mainly in the home. Every family is reciting their blessings as they're lighting the Chanukiah. They're reading the story. Some may read the story very briefly. Some may choose a more elaborate reading from a book such as this, Hanerot halalu, These Lights Are Holy, a home celebration of Hanukkah, edited by Elise Frischman and illustrated by Leonard Barkin. And a book such as these, let's just take a look at the 4th night of Hanukkah. Actually, we'll look at the 5th night because it includes a picture of various dreidels. It's taken the Hanukkah story. Leonard Barkin has illustrated it. A portion of the Hanukkah story is read each evening, and then as the page is turned, there are various poems included, and then the Hebrew and the translation for the blessings that are recited after the candles are lit. So each family chooses how to celebrate. In terms of presents, the Hanukkah gelt, the pretty little gold-covered chocolate coins, that's a very traditional way of having a gift. But as Christmas in Western society, especially in the United States, and Hanukkah collide with one another, a couple of years ago we had what we jokingly called Thanksgivicah, because Hanukkah and Thanksgiving occurred simultaneously on the calendar. Next year, in 2016, the first night of Hanukkah is Christmas Eve. There have been years when Hanukkah starts after Christmas, and it starts much earlier, and it kind of shifts through the month of December. Why is that? It's because the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar with solar accommodations. And if you want to learn more about the Jewish calendar, I encourage you to visit myjewishlearning.com for all things Jewish. And so all of these songs are songs that our students learn in Hebrew school. They learn from their parents, their grandparents, their friends. Some of them are about the miracle and the story of Hanukkah. Mi Yimalel. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. But then some of them are much more, again, fröhlich about the sivivon. A dreidel is a sivivon because it goes L'sovev is to go around and around. Sivivon, sof, sof, sof. Hanukkah, turn, turn, turn. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Hanukkah, hu chag tov. Sevivon, sof, sof, sof. Friends in other countries, Jews from other lands, have taken their own language, whether it's Spanish or Italian or Arabic, used Hebrew letters, and so you'll get a song for Jews from Sephardic countries, from Spain and Portugal, who dispersed after 1492 and 1497 around the Mediterranean. Hanukkah lindas aquí, ocho candelas para mí. And so there's this whole song about 1 candle, 2 candles, 3 candles. And in the European, Northern European climes, that wasn't a song that's known. So each tradition, each Jewish community, depending upon their origin, has a slight variety of songs. And food, can I tell you there's food? We read in our book about Max, who's had Hanukkah latkes being made. And who was making them? Grandpa was making latkes. Let's see what he has on the counter. He has oil, flour, baking powder, potatoes, salt and pepper, onions, eggs, and some applesauce to put on the top. And the oil is the key. All of the classic cultural foods for Hanukkah have something to do with being fried, especially deep fried. So in Northern Europe, it's latkes. It's levivot in Hebrew. It's potato pancakes. In Israel, in Arab lands, it's sufganiyot. It's jelly donuts. So if you want to bring something to your friend's house for Hanukkah, stop by any bakery. A kosher bakery is preferred, but if not, be sure to get jelly donuts, and that would be a great gift for someone Jewish for Hanukkah. As our songs go on, some of you might remember Peter, Paul, and Mary. And Peter Yarrow of Peter, Paul, and Mary fame wrote what has become now a very famous song about Hanukkah. And the chorus, the first verse goes like this, but it has to do with something that we think is very appropriate for all times, especially now when we're in such troubled times in our country and around the world. It's called Light One Candle. Light one candle for the Maccabee children. Give thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for their terrible sacrifice. Justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine through our love and our tears. In the Jewish world, light is a symbol that goes through all of our teachings from the Torah and beyond. For the Torah is a lamp and the mitzvah a light. We're called to be or legoyim, a light to the nations. Not to make everybody Jewish like us, but to take the mitzvot, the ethical commandments, the way we are to treat one another, the way we are to live our lives in peace and justice, caring for the widow, the orphan, and the stranger, donating to those who are hungry, donating to those who have nothing or who have very little. And it's the light of that message that for us, when we are kindling each of these Hanukkah lights, we hope to publicize not only the miracle of Hanukkah, which happened so many years ago, 2,164, 175 by now or more, and to take that miracle as the foundation for bringing ethical teachings to the world. And whatever your tradition, we invite you to share in spreading the light of peace and nonviolence. And I believe with many others that if there is to be peace on earth, it is to come from each of us, and it should shine from us and in all our relationships. One of the ways we say Happy Hanukkah is Chag Urim Sameach. Urim means lights. Holiday of lights, happy. Happy holiday of lights, happy festival of lights. And that's what I wish for everyone, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, whether your friends do, whether you're celebrating Christmas, or the many wonderful holidays and observances of traditions around the world. May the peace and the ethical living that comes from our tradition be something that we can share with everyone, and may our lives prosper in these dark days of winter, so that when the light of spring comes, we're still on the path to holiness and dedication to righteous living. Chag Urim Sameach. Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Shalom.
תיקון בית תפילתי ושם תודה נזבח בעת תכין מטבע מצלם נבח אז אגמור בשיר מזמור חנוכת המזבח אז אגמור בשיר מזמור